Professor Charlie Evans, and these are my notes on the Reston Historical Map assignment that I use in some of my campus and online courses. The purpose of the assignment is simple. It's to allow students to understand historical change. Now, in most cases, when students think about history, they think in terms of long-term history. Hundreds of years, thousands of years, think in terms of maybe ancient Egypt, Rome, the Middle Ages, the Civil War. But history also changes over shorter periods of time. And so you need to be aware that in the span of 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, a lot of historical change can also take place. And so the case study for this particular assignment is an examination of what has happened in the area known as Reston. It's located in Northern Virginia. It's part of the suburbs of Washington, D.C. And in the last 40 years, the area has undergone substantial economic, social, developmental changes and everything. And so what we do in the assignment is we look at an aerial photograph of Reston from 1973, and I've got it broken down into grids so it'll allow us to analyze areas of the Reston more specifically. And then we're going to take this aerial photograph and we're going to compare that with a Google Earth image of what Reston is like currently. And that way you can compare the difference between Reston in 1973 and Reston in 2013. It's only 40 years, but when you compare the imagery, you're going to see some unbelievable changes that have taken place. The area has really developed from kind of a small, incipient suburb, maybe, I'm just guessing, 5 to 10,000 people, to a developed urban area of probably 70 to 80,000 people with substantial economic development that's gone along with that. And that what has happened in Reston is something that has mirrored worldwide trends of the last 40 years. And so if we look at rough urban population percentages, we see that as of January 2010, it's estimated that over 50% of the world's population lives in urban, suburban areas and everything. And that's a dramatic change in just the last 20 years or so. But if you take it further back in time, if you compare, for example, the urban population of the world in, say, 1900 with that of today, you're going to see that in 1900, maybe the world's population was 15 to 20% urban and everything. And so that historical change over the last century has meant a lot of different changes in terms of social, economic, political, demographic, medical. It's a sweeping societal change and everything. And so as students, we're going to be looking at this in a really small example, and that's just seeing what we can see about changes that have occurred in Reston in the last 40 years. It's kind of a fun little assignment because it requires you to look carefully at these aerial photographs. And it takes a little bit of practice to try and pick out different areas and everything. But once you get used to identifying features, you'll see that the world looks much different from above than it does when down here on ground level and everything.